Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leo season. We have our favorite astrologer, Anastasia, here with us, going to shed some light on what to expect. Christine will be coming in with a point of view from human design, and Lois is joining us as a developmental coach and looking at what might support folks through this season. And I get the joyful job of just moderating this conversation. So, Anastasia, welcome.
Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to this powerful and radiant time of the year when the sun returns to its home sign Leo. The Leo season starts on July 22, and that's the time when the sun, of which we're speaking so often, it takes the center stage in the sky. In astrology, the sun represents the core of who we are, the source of life, warmth, and light. And symbolically, it's our essence, our drive to live, to act, to move forward. It is the part of us that says, that is who I am. So it is our conscious identity. And the period when the sun moves through Leo, is the sign of the sun. It's its celestial home, if I may say so. So this period brings these themes into sharp focus. It's a time of self-recognition, for reclaiming our light and for asking the essential questions, who am I becoming? So I believe it's a time for self-remembering. And this time, when the sun enters Leo, immediately as it enters the sign, it immediately reaches out to all the outer planets. We spoke about them last time. It's Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto. The sun forms a sextile, a nice aspect with Uranus, a nice aspect of trine with Saturn and Neptune, and a very powerful opposition to Pluto. And these outer planets, they usually represent forces greater than the individual self. They move slowly, they shape generations, eras, and collective shifts, as we already discussed. But now, when the sun, the planet of our personal identity, turns toward them, we can see how it illuminates something about these collective planets and us. It means that it will reveal some collective ideas in ourselves. And talking about what exactly it will make, it will do the opposition to Pluto. And this reveals these questions: where do you feel powerless? Pluto is about power. So it's also a question where you're afraid to change. Pluto may bring fear or crisis, but the sun, it brings always clarity and courage. So it is time to it is a time to stand for yourself. It's the time of courage. And the trine to Saturn at the same time, it is quite grounding. It gives a chance to review our long-term strategies and take responsibilities for where we want to go. It also asks, what are you truly committed to? So it's also a time of commitment. Without commitment, the light of the sun scatters, and with this commitment, it becomes focused and strong. So we have courage and commitment, and on top of it, we have this aspect to Uranus, which invites intuition, awakening, something surprising, innovative, liberating, but only if we are willing to leave old patterns behind. So it's courage, commitment, and innovation. That's what we are heading to. And this is the month where the personal, our ego, our sun, touches hands with the collective. And I believe this touch makes this season tremendously important. It's not just a message about from these collective planets about what is happening in the world. And it is not just a message from the sun, as usually it goes through Leo during this time of the year, about who you are. No, it's about who you become in response to the changes in the world. So that's why I believe it's really important how we react to what we see around us during this entire Leo season. And I believe it's truly challenging time. But I also believe that the universe gave all these challenges to every sign of the zodiac with a certain purpose. And it's not only because I like the idea that we receive everything for purpose. It's just because these challenges are very in line with our strengths. We all receive this time those challenges that we can cope with, and not only cope with, but also they help us reveal our talents, and they remind us who we really are. So that's self-remembering on a very high level. And I can explain why for every sign. I can do it right now, unless Christine has anything to add in general.
Yeah, I would just say in general, I think it's really interesting to hear you use the word collective, right? Because I often think of what little bit I understand about Leo energy. I often think about Leo energy as being very kind of like, look at me, like I am all about me, right? But in human design, in this Leo period, all of the gates in Leo are collective gates. And so it's interesting to hear you talk about that because I agree with you that they're all collective in this very kind of like, how am I going to show up in the world in the collective, right? Like it's very kind of that sort of focus, which is exactly what you've just been talking about, right? Like who is the most me and how am I going to impact the full collective? And also this period in human design has a real strong focus on gates 31 and 7 are part of this Leo period, and between the Sun and Mercury, there's a lot of activation in those gates during this time, which is true every year, right? And so the gates 31 and 7 form a channel called the Alpha channel, which is all about leadership, right? And so this is what I think about when I think about where is the individual intersecting with the collective, right? How am I going to lead not others? How am I going to lead myself, right? In order to be an example in many ways for what leadership is and for how we can each be leaders in our own life and then leaders for each other once we are actually in touch with our own direction in the world. So yeah, I don't know if that 100%, dovetails, but that's what was coming up for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what is the first gate the sun enters when it enters Leo? What is the first gate? That's the time when it makes all these aspects with the collective planets. It's interesting.
Right. That's gate 56 at first. It's one of those gates that's partly in both signs. It's partly in Cancer and partly in Leo. And then it shifts directly into gate 31, which is this part of this leadership piece, actually. So I don't know if that coincides with your
Uh,
worldview.
yeah, I believe it adds a lot because exactly Leo season is the season of individuals. It's an individual because the sun in Leo is at home. That's why we are thinking so much about ourselves, our ego during this time. But when it is also never seen separately from other signs. Leo is on the axis with Aquarius, and Aquarius is a very collective sign. So we always go through in this axis, and we always go individual is against collective, and either we are very much concentrated on ourselves or we are very much dissolved in collective things during the Leo season. And it depends on the month, it depends on the year, it depends on ourselves and on our natal charts and how we live them through. But this time, I think what you said about this leadership and about all these collective gates that are open, that's really, I believe everyone will feel it. I believe everyone will feel it in this or that way because these outer planets, they have just entered the new signs, and the sun enters the Leo, and that's the moment when it is only, it lasts only a few days, but it will have an impact for much more. For the outer planets, it will make an impact for many years. And for the sun in Leo, it will make an impact for 1 month, but it's the months when we shape ourselves as individuals. And that's very important how we will go through all this in the years to come as well, what we will shape during this time. So it's really important to note it. And I also believe that we will not be able not to note, not to see it. That's how to.
Yeah, I also think, from the outer planets perspective, right? So Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn are all in what we call individual energy gates. And they're in this gate of the now. Uranus is in this like now. We've got to make things different now, individually for ourselves, right? And then Neptune and Saturn are in gate 25, which is, again, this thing about innocence and the spirit of the self, right? Very much like, who are we going to be now is what I think about with that energy. And so I think about that very strong individual energy, being joined by all the collective energy of the sun in this particular, stretch of time, being super powerful, right? Where people really learning to step into their own power, and for the benefit of others, right? Not just for themselves. And I feel like this big shift between like, yeah, we did all this power stuff for our individual selves for a long time. We saw where that got us. Now we've got to really rethink this thing that we're doing here on the planet.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. So if we return to the signs, I will start with the cardinal signs. These are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. This year, and especially this season, they will experience pressure from Saturn and Neptune. And their influence may feel confusing, heavy, or even paralyzing in times. You may experience a sense that your usual direction no longer feels certain, a lack of clarity about what you truly want, a loss of big meanings, of big senses, and fear to start new things. And that's when this individual collective goes, you feel this pressure from the bigger planets, from the outer world, and you are afraid to start and to make this first step. Because this combination of Saturn and Neptune, it can be so disorienting. Saturn wants structure, Neptune dissolves the structure, and together they can erase your usual foundation, leaving you unsure how to go forward. But here is the interesting point. Here is why I think the universe made it so beautifully and gave all these challenges so wonderfully. The truth is that Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, they are all the signs of the beginning. They are cardinal signs. They're the signs of initiation. Cardinal signs correspond to the months of the year when the new seasons begin. So they start. They usher in change. And although this moment may feel like the ground is falling out from under you, that's exactly where you find your power. These signs, cardinal signs, are not supposed to wait for certainty. Because you are the ones who bring certainty, who make certainty. You are supposed to act before this certainty arrives. So you shouldn't hesitate to go forward. It is perfect to start with yourself, to choose yourself, and just make the first step, and then you'll see the entire way. So these cardinal signs are being tested by uncertainty, and this is done. I think so that it is done not to break you, but to remind you of your unique strength, of your strengths to start. While others wait for light, you have courage to walk into the dark. These are very courageous signs, truly. And this month you can plant the seeds of what's next. So for these signs, I believe it's the time to remember that you are courageous, that you can go forward. Does anyone have, is there any, can you add anything to the, exactly to the cardinal signs, to this point? Or is there no such thing in human design?
Oh, well, I was wondering if you were asking Lois and Lauren. No, I mean, there's nothing like this in human
Okay.
design exactly, right? So, but a lot of the words excuse me, a lot of the words you're using are actually very aligned for this time. So, I
Ah,
mean, yeah,
okay.
that's kind of interesting to hear them show up, but I don't have any huge insights necessarily as in this particular vein. This isn't something that we look at quite in the same way.
Okay. Do we have cardinal signs among us? I forgot to ask that in the beginning.
You mean in our sun signs?
Yeah, a sun or ascendant, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think my ascendant. I'm so bad with
Okay.
knowing what the signs
Okay.
are.
Okay. Yeah, it's but that's also an important note that when I'm speaking about you are the sign, it may be also the sun and the ascendant because the
Okay.
ascendant also shows where who you are, and it's also especially for cardinal signs because it's the point from which we start all our new actions, new deeds, everything that we enter into. It starts with the ascendant. Okay, then I'll go in pure astrology further. For the fixed signs, um, fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And this year, this season plays fixed signs directly in the path of Pluto. They have either opposition or square with Pluto. So you may feel a sense of powerlessness, as if something bigger. Pluto is really, it's not the biggest planet, it's one of the smallest actually, but it feels big and it acts big. So if as if something bigger than you is shaping your reality. You may also have this emotional or psychological pressure slowly building over time. It doesn't come like this. It may be it may develop through time, through this month or even through this year. But you'll probably feel it in the beginning of the season, so at the end of July as well. You may also feel a need to release something you've clung to, even if it feels like part of your identity. So you may feel like part of your identity should be changing or should go away or should like something does not belong to you. And there may be also a growing awareness that you are transforming. Even if you're not sure what's on the other side, but you are going into transformation. And that's what Pluto likes. Pluto likes transformations, but it doesn't like and it doesn't ask for quick changes. It asks for endurance. It works slowly, it digs through layers, it exposes what has been buried. So Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are called fixed for a reason. And that's why I also believe this challenge is exactly what they can go through and when they can become even better than before, because these signs are the masters of consistency and endurance. They're made for this kind of transformation. I believe that the path of the signs is the path of the diamond, which is forged under immense pressure over time. And this is exactly what Pluto does. It presses till you become beautiful. So the deeper truth here is that you are outgrowing your old shape. You are becoming a diamond. So let go of what no longer serves and root even deeper into what matters. Release control. Allow a more authentic version of yourself to emerge. It will come, it will be better, really better after the Pluto is out. And remember, you are able to rise in a new and better capacity. You are here in this season also not to be broken, not to be just pressed and suffering. You are being pressed to crystallize, to become stronger, wiser, and more refined. So it doesn't sound very pleasant, but that's exactly the path of these signs. That's the way these signs develop, and that's what they need. And let this diamond be forming. That's my message to the fixed signs. Let's remind it's Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. And then we have the last group of signs. These are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And they are under the influence of Uranus. And Uranus brings shake-ups. It brings chaos, sudden changes, reversals of direction. It may increase mental stress or overstimulation, the loss of clarity or routines, and this sharp urge to escape, or the need to urgently find a new way. When you feel that, oh, I cannot stand this anymore, I have to, not my part of my identity should go somewhere, no, but I need to go somewhere in another world, fly to Mars, I don't know. Uranus doesn't ask for permission when it comes. It disrupts. It comes suddenly. So it liberates by destabilizing. And this may also feel frightening. There is something important to remember here. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are mutable signs. Mutable signs are the masters of transition. Where others resist change, like, for example, fixed signs, they don't like change. They will resist it for a long time. Cardinal signs will fight, and they may break because they fight. But mutable, they bend and transform. They know how to respond to life in real time. They may reinvent themselves without losing their essence. So you don't need a fixed map. You navigate by feeling and adjust as you go. And my best advice is probably trust your curiosity. Let your mind find new patterns. Trust the unknown. Then you will turn the chaos into meaning. Because mutable signs, they don't break in chaos. They are made for it, and they know how to shape it. So don't try to resist, don't try to be fixed or cardinal. And that actually goes to every other science. Remember your strength. That's the period of your strengths. For cardinal signs, it's courage. For fixed sign, it's endurance. For mutable signs is this bending and flexibility. And that's our strengths. And each of us have the challenge that corresponds exactly to our strengths. So I believe it's not just a challenge, it's a gift, what we have this season. That's how I see it in general. Do you have what do you feel when I'm talking about it? Do you see it maybe already in your life? How does it go?
Well, I'll just jump in and say that what you were talking about with fixed signs and being influenced with Pluto, right? And so from a human design perspective, Pluto is going to be in what we consider gate 41 for a long time now, right? Which is gate 41 is it's beginnings, right? It's actually called contractions because it is that contracting energy before birth, essentially, right? And so this time, I think from some of what you were saying, is this thing we're feeling, right? We're feeling in this birth canal, essentially, and it feels awful, right? But it's actually, we are going to be out at some point and we are going to be in a new world and we will have new abilities at that point. So I would just say that the human design would totally back up what you were saying about some of the aspects of fixed signs and this particular moment in Pluto. And also Mutable signs and Uranus. Uranus is in gate 20 for us now for quite some time. Gate 20 is literally called the now, right? It is very much, like I said, this individual energy to be in the moment. And much of what I heard you say felt to me like being present is really a thing that we all need to be doing more of, and that even though Uranus can be, chaotic and pushy and all of that, it's actually here pushing us to be more present in the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it about being in the moment with Uranus, because then you don't have to think about how to react. You can just act in the moment. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
This time feels to me, and it would show up differently for the different types of signs, but in this connection between the individual and the collective, and it's like this remembering who we are and stepping forward in our strengths is the sort of the stepping back and looking at what is this situation asking of me, and how do I want to show up in it. And so whether that's like with the cardinal signs, whether that's the courage or in the fix, the endurance, or I've forgotten what
Beautiful.
yeah. But so that's going to show up differently. But the how do I want to show up? And then there's a leadership aspect of the self that then plays out in your sphere of influence. So just that stepping back and looking at how do I want to show up in this? I think that would be really useful.
Yeah, stepping back. It's it's so good that you use this phrase "step back," because now we are in the middle of the Mercury retrograde period, and that's exactly what we should be doing now. We should be stepping back and looking inside. And Mercury conjuncts the Sun. I will. I forgot the date. In a few days, on July 31st, it conjuncts the Sun, and that means that we have stepped back, we have looked into ourselves, and we can make it conscious. We can bring it to our consciousness and then act more in full capacity, in fuller capacity.
And authentically.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way you did this. I think this is great, and I think our audience will really appreciate this. Anastasia, I was just thinking of before we started recording, Christine and I were on, and Christine said, "Hey, how are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm feeling really pressed." And I am a fixed sign. I am Aquarius is my sun sign, and I'm pressed, and things aren't happening as fast as I want them to. And of course, I'm feeling that also retrograde from Mercury, but I find this really interesting as you're revealing this, and I always do seem to begin to feel things quite early. And then this also the sign of Cancer in the cardinal signs is my rising sign, and I'm feeling this, desire to start new things, but it's not quite clear. Like, and so this kind of push pull, like, do I go ahead and just start that, or? So this was really helpful from my perspective.
Super. I hope a lot of people find something, not just to, just for entertainment, but also to understand what's going on.
Exactly.
And to remember our strength. It's also important for me. When I was preparing this, I realized that I should be remembering. I should remember about this for myself as well, and it's useful because I'm mutable and I have ascendant mutable as well. And right now there are a lot of changes going on, and I feel like I don't want these changes. I want to resist. And yeah, when I was preparing, I understood that no, I should not be probably resisting. It will lead me somewhere. I just need to be open and find some new ways. It will go, and I know exactly that it will bring us to a better place. That's for sure. So probably we have already started about this retrograde Mercury, speaking about the retrograde Mercury, and we should look at the sun's journey during the entire month. And basically there are not many days, just a few that I would like to pay attention to. And the first happens on July 24. That's when the new moon in Leo happens. It reinforces actually the same themes that we have just discussed. So what is most important on this day, in addition to what I have already said, it's probably to remember that Leo itself rules our heart, literally and symbolically. And in Latin, the heart is a core, and that's where the courage comes from. So it's time to set courageous intentions that come from your heart. So personal courage is what gives us direction again. And the heart is also about commitments. Who and what do we truly love? Who and what are we committed to? So these major themes of courage and commitment pop up in the sun's new moon, the Leo new moon again. But even though these are such big words, courage, commitment, intentions, we should not be solving global problems at the moment, because Leo is very individual at the same time. So we just have to thinking, what do I care about enough to commit to, even if it's just a small thing? And where do I need more courage? Where do I need more confidence? And what would support it? And when we find the answers to these questions, they will not be for life. These answers should not be for life. This answer should be for now, for this month, for the moment. And then from these answers, we can set intentions. So our intentions should be the answers to these questions, and then they will work. They will realize, I believe. And just don't expect that they will realize fast, because Leo is also a fixed sign. It doesn't set speedy actions. In addition, we have this period of retrograde Mercury, so it's usually slows down all the processes. But it's a good time to think about what should I be committed to, and where do I lack confidence? Where do I need it? Where do I need this courage? And then we may see the answers. And then on July 31st, Sun meets retrograde Mercury, as I already mentioned, and this is about stepping back. And it lasts not only one day; it lasts for the entire end of July, and up until August 3rd or 4th, when we have this time to rethink, to to hear what the sun wants to tell us through this Mercury. And the sun, remember that it's us, it's our higher I, that's our high identity, and it knows the answers. So just listen carefully. You might find yourself thinking, maybe I gave up on something too soon, or that idea actually still makes sense, something from the past. Or I think I know how to approach this now, but differently. So it's like retrospective analysis of what has already been done, and maybe we find now better ways to deal with it from something from our past. So you don't have to push forward. And that's why also during the new moon, we don't have to push forward. I don't have to go and act immediately. I just set an intention. I just find the answer to my question about courage and commitment. And then I gather all the information from myself, or maybe I hear something from the outer world that helps me understand what I could do something better, or what I could do in general, or what mistakes I have maybe made and how to correct them. So it's time of observation. It's enough to observe what's going on, and afterwards we will be able to look at everything with fresh eyes.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting because the new moon, at the moment of the new moon, the gate 31.1 is what both the sun and the moon are in at that moment. And 31 is this leading energy, like leadership, and the hexagram name is influence, right? And so I really think a lot about like this particular stretch of time being a great time to really actually step back again, this Mercury retrograde thing, and look at what has been influencing us and how we would like to be influencing others, right? And through our own leadership, essentially, right? Like, are we doing the things in the world that are lighting us up, like the sun, and also the right direction for us, like the moon, and in this collective energy, helping others, right? Like help making the world a better place. Like I think all of these energies are really strong during this particular new moon. Being just given the fact that this is where everything is sitting in this gate of leadership and influence. I don't know. I just feel like we don't think about how influential we are in the world, especially in our small circles. Um, and for good reason, we've been conditioned to think that we're small and insignificant, right? But we aren't really. And this is a great time with both of these, like the shining of both of these things into our world to like really pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm. And what about July 31st? That's when Mercury conjuncts the Sun. What gate is it in?
Which gate, I mean, which heavenly body are you talking about on the 31st?
Sun and Mercury, they're together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, they're in gate 33, which is the other side of the collective gate is still a throat gate. So it is this manifestation thing, but 33 is retreat, right? So 33 is very much like, look, I get all this information in all the time, but now I really need to go away and think about it. I need some time to really process what I'm hearing, understand what's worth keeping and what's not in order so that we can move forward again as a collective in a better way. So that's where they'll be on the 31st.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun.
Yeah.
And that retreat is a nice image of
Yeah.
what we should be doing. Is anybody going on vacation during this time? It may be a good time to retreat. Yeah. Um, okay, then we have the not much left. We have on August 7. That's not exactly the something with the sun, but it's about Mars. Mars changes signs. It leaves Virgo and enters Libra. And that may shift the mood a bit. Mars is about drive and action. The sun sets the goals, and Mars goes for these goals. But in Libra, the energy doesn't move in a straight line. It may be thinking, overthinking, it may be looking for a compromise. It's not so straightforward. But the most important thing is that just like the sun, when it entered Leo, right away when Mars enters Libra, it will hit all the big planets again. And it will get some irritation from Saturn and Neptune, power from Pluto, innovation from Uranus. It will repeat, but already on the level of actions, not on the level of our ego and goals and identity, but on the level of actions. And it may bring urge to act immediately. But I would suggest avoiding bold moves or final decisions. It's more about experimenting with different responses. It's looking for the ways to set boundaries. That's very important for Mars in Libra to know the boundaries, and because Mars in Libra may be it may be involved in a struggle without noticing how it happened. But when you know the boundaries, you are not so easily involved into a fight. It's also more about speaking up and stepping back and noticing what's worth your effort and what probably isn't. So it kind of repeats the same ideas, but on a different level. You know, reconsidering everything now on the level of behavior. What do I do? What actual steps do I make? And when the sun concentrates us on our identity and how it will be changed, it's the core. Mars focuses on the actions, and those are the actions. What are we going to do with our changing identities? How will I act as a changed person, as a new person? If you have an answer, then go and act. Then don't listen to me about all this. Oh, don't speed up. Okay, just go and do it. But if you don't have an answer, like many of us, it's better not to rush in. I would say observe and experiment. I believe that from August 7 till August 22 till the Virgo season, we may see and develop some behavioral patterns that can help us on the way to our dreams and to ourselves. So it's important. These are important 2 weeks when we will be developing our way of behaving, way of going forward. And it also, I'll probably add immediately for about the full moon, because the full moon will happen on August 8 or 9. I guess it depends on the time zone. This is a full moon, which is a very logical continuation of the month. So the sun entered Leo, immediately hit all the bigger planets, all the big players. Then we have this new moon in Leo that calls us back to the heart. And just one day before this full moon, Mars moves into Libra, possibly throwing our energy or direction a bit off balance, but then we have to gather back this balance. And this full moon, it comes at this perfect time to help us zoom out, because the full moon always lights everything it touches, and we can just check up and ask, am I still moving in the direction I care about? Do my recent choices reflect what's really important to me? So it's again, it's like a continuation, and I believe we don't need perfect answers. This is less about conclusions, about final decisions, but it's more about honesty with ourselves. So that's how I see this, and it also sets these 2 weeks forward. From August 7, we have this Mars entering Libra, and then August 8 and 9 full moon, and then till August 22nd, these are the energies that we will be in. We will be experimenting and trying to live into this new identity, whatever we have realized during the first 2 weeks of the Leo season about our identity, about values, about directions, about energy. Then the next 2 weeks are about actually living into it, and slowly, without extra pressure, experimenting, trying out, a very natural process, I would say. And so I believe this month really it helps us to understand how we are going to be and who we are becoming, especially in this new era of big planets and other signs, in this new big period we have entered.
Yeah, the full moon will be in gate 13.5, which is the gate of the listener, right? And so it's actually the other end of the gate 33 that we were talking about before with the retreat gate. This is the listener gate. So how this energy works as a channel is people are coming all the time telling this energy stories and talking to them about how their experiences in the world are. And that gate 13 calls these stories in so that it can then, like I said, go retreat and think about what it's heard and bring forth through all of that stuff, bring forth the ideas and the stories that we need to hold on to for the future, right? And so like when I think about the full moon being in this gate of the listener, and I think in general, everything we've been talking about, like I think we think about Leo energy as outward in the world and shining out in the world, but I really feel like this particular Leo season and the gates that I see in the human design, from the human design perspective, they're much more all about the self, but much more inward. Like, what's the self doing inside, less than what the self is doing out in the world. And this listener gate, again, for the full moon makes me think very much that would be a great time, a great supportive energy to really listen to yourself, maybe. You know?
Yeah, and that's I find it interesting that this time, Christine, we don't have any contradictions. Everything corresponds in astrology and human design. It should be a very, I believe it is also a sign of something, of some period of completion, that we have some complete picture and we have a chance to get this complete picture as well during the months. And still, I believe the Leo season it is still time to shine. Leo likes actions and likes to be when everybody gives applause. So it's time to shine, but it is time also to decide on how do I want to shine.
Well, but I feel like it's more like it's time to shine, but it's time to see your own shine without having to have it being reflected from somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I feel like what we're talking about. It's like
Mhm.
notice your own shining without anybody else telling you anything about that, right? Like that I feel is kind of what I'm seeing in the energy from my perspective.
Yeah.
It sounds like that energy of who are you when no one is looking. And that feels like that theme keeps coming out for me. And to do that, we have to be really courageous, and which is how you started us in this conversation, and commit to being okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's interesting too that this happens in the northern hemisphere. This happens at like usually a slower time for everyone because we're sort of in that warmer season of the summer. Lots even if people are still working, things aren't moving as fast. And so like you had the idea of like being on holiday, and like a lot of us can't just retreat, but we can spend time contemplating. And so that just contemplating on what's really working for me, what isn't working for me. And it also feels like we need to get out of our heads because it seems like that's where we probably get into trouble, is overthinking rather than just allowing what's revealing itself to speak to us. And so just letting as you contemplate and letting that inform this experimenting that you're talking about. And then going out, and because like in coaching, that's what we do, is you don't just go and do something new, completely different, is you experiment with little steps along the way. And you learn from those little steps, you see what works and you see what doesn't work. So not going out, well, I'm going to be a completely different person in the world, but what's one thing I could do that would move me towards, and go out and, what a friend of mine likes to say, audition it and see if you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, Lois. It actually makes me think of something we didn't talk about is the planet Jupiter, which, from a astrology perspective, probably isn't particularly significant right now because it's in Cancer and it stays in Cancer throughout this Leo season. But from a human design perspective, it on the 22nd of July, it moves into a new gate. And that gate is the Provocateur, right? And so this is a provoking energy. It's very much here to, like, exactly like you just said, try new things, right? It can be a very outwardly focused. It can be this energy that wants to push others to try new things, but it's also, again, it's Jupiter. It's our personal law, essentially, in human design. It's as influential, or the second most influential piece of our design after the sun. And so this is going to be a big energy for a lot of people. And I think that just thinking about this idea that we're going to be just pushed, just there's going to be either the world is going to push at us, or we're going to push at others, or there's just going to be this thing about trying new things, thinking about things in new ways, just questioning what it is we think we know. And that energy, provoking energy, stays with us all throughout the Leo season until just before we switch into Virgo, where Jupiter moves into gate 53 or 52. I always get them confused. 53, which is beginnings, right? And so a lot of this, I think, provoking energy is here to like set us up to then do the thing that you were talking about, Lois. Like, we're doing these little experiments, we're running these little auditions, and then at that point we're like, okay, I know which way I want to go now. I can start this new habit because now I've figured out what that looks like. So I just think that's also going to be an energy that's going to be pretty strong for us, for all of us individually.
It's interesting that you're talking about provocative energy. From astrology perspective, I didn't mention Jupiter and Venus, but they're both in Cancer, and they are eastern of the sun. They're becoming stronger, especially Jupiter. And these are two good planets. These are planets that bring something good, and they bring luck. So even if Jupiter is provocative, or it makes us change, or makes us experiment, we should remember that it helps. It does it with a good intention. So these are the two planets that help us live through this period, not righteously, but really they help us understand what's going on, and they help us survive in difficult situations, and they help us, like you said, Jupiter is a law, and Venus and Jupiter both are about our spiritual relationship with God, and with the believing that there are some big forces that help us, that lead us, that may bring us in their hands. And these are the planets that will bring this, not just luck, but like help of angels. So they may help us be not be courageous, not to fear. And so they are important, and they will help. I know it for sure.
I'd like to add one thing to all this, because I work with trees and I work with the land, and I'm looking outside, and we've got a storm brewing and everything blowing around. But this season right now, this month, everything is so abundant. It's so lush. And what's going on behind the scenes that we don't think about is all the foliage is collecting energy to do the thing it needs to do for the coming seasons. So it's absorbing the sun, and we've got, this big energy from Leo and the sun. So that's what the trees are doing. And they're taking it in so they can do the thing, whatever the thing is. And for trees, they're putting on the new buds for the following year. They're deepening their roots. They're doing all the expansive things that trees need to do during this season. So there's always a natural correlation with these astrological readings, and also with the human design. And I think that might give folks another lens. Sometimes when the other ideas feel a little heady, just look outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. How natural everything, that everything goes in one direction, in one rhythm. Yeah, it's nice closing words, I guess, to remember that we are in a natural process, and it will develop the way it should develop. It will go the way it should go.
Anything else in closing from you, Christine?
No, just I just think that people are going to experience the same thing we've been experiencing in many ways, like lots of pressure, lots of feeling about, this like newness, right? Not knowing what's next, but I do think it all has a plan. I do think it's all going to be okay on the other side.
Yeah, of course
So,
it is. And what about you, Lois? Thanks, Christine.
Oh, what came to me then was just like to trust ourselves and to trust the energy that we live in, and be curious.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. And Anastasia, thank you for bringing that framework for this Leo season for us to discuss and look at and see from these different lenses. And we will be back again then for Virgo season in a month.